Supermassive Games was at Summer Games Fest, showcasing Directive 8020. This included guided tours through a demo that we're currently seeing write-ups about. I was, tragically, not at Summer Games Fest, and as a consequence, I haven't been able to check out the demo yet. But we still have something to watch. You see, in situations like this, where someone plays a guided demo at an expo, obviously the journalist can't capture the footage themselves. And recording each player's footage individually, then labeling and putting it on a server for them to download later is, let's be frank here, a lot of work for people who are already busy. As a consequence, a popular workaround is to create a video showing either the demo being played or a decent amount of footage set around the demo's events, and then let the various press outlets use that to make their video. This is what Supermassive Games has done, and luckily a viewer was kind enough to post the link as a comment in one of my other videos, so now we don't have to scrounge through IGN's coverage looking for new footage or anything frustrating like that. Although, we are going to do that later, but not for the main footage we use. So let's dig in. It's the title card we've seen a lot of, and they're not shy about this being a dark pictures game, so yay. We open on a fully gooped hydroponics lab. We've seen this location a bunch in the trailers so far, including once in its pre-goopified state. Will that be a flashback, or maybe we'll see it in the prologue? The door opens and Stafford and Joseph arrive. Before getting to them, let's take a second to note the goop particles in the air just floating around all over the place. I certainly hope these things can't infect people, because neither of those guys is wearing a mask. Still, it's a great visual. I'm sure it's not connected, but watching goop spores cloud up as they walk into the room certainly reminds me of Jason and Salim having to avoid the early warning spores in the spaceship from House of Ashes.
Good lord. This has got to be why the scrubbers are damaged.
So they're dealing with a failure of the CO2 scrubbers, the method by which the ship's air is cleaned and kept breathable. Presumably CO2 is collected from the air, fed into the plant growth pods to keep them growing, and they expel the oxygen the crew needs. The goop has clearly screwed up this oxygen cycle. Great looking plants though, and the little spritzes of water that hit them all the time. Ugh, it's a great visual.
Anders, substance is all over Hydro.
Has it reached the CO2 scrubbers?
It's everywhere.
So this is presumably very early in their knowledge about the goop, if they're still just referring to it as a substance. Are we about to see the first time they encounter goop clones? Obviously, the player will already know about them, assuming Goop Sims attacks Carter bit from the teaser remains intact. Well, that's just a nice scare. No notes. I like the big LED wall designed to trick you into thinking you're on Earth during a sunny day while you sit on a bench next to the tree. I'm conflicted about whether it should be malfunctioning like this, though. Just from a spectacle standpoint, it would be incredibly eerie if the LED display was showing off the most perfect bucolic day imaginable, but the screen itself was encrusted with purple goop, and the golden light of Earth's sun would be shining through in shafts all over the engoopified garden. The way they've gone with it is interesting in its own way, though. Is the fact that it's now purple a random glitch, or did a goop monster change it to the kind of light they prefer? Or does it just look purple because there's an ultra-thin layer of goop on it? So many questions based on a single prop.
Who's there? Identify yourself.
Now we've got the monster reveals, as well as the shock stick deployment we saw in the new trailer. Of course, that time it was Sam using the shock stick, apparently confirming my suggestion that the player is going to have some say in who comes down for this sequence and whose double we wind up fighting. It's also possible that it's not a choice, and Sam's presence in this scene suggests that Stafford can get killed before this point in the game, and so this scene has to happen anyway, just with different characters.
Get behind me, now!
So, do the goop monsters gradually get smarter as they observe the characters for a longer amount of time? Because right now they can't speak, and as such don't do a great job of confusing many people. Well, that's just a great effect. Although again, and this is just me talking about the metaphor, how much more powerful would it be if the screen that he shot was a picture-perfect recreation of Earth, and by shooting it, we just watched the Earth die? Here's the Joseph fight. I assume this is going to feature QTEs in the actual game? I mean, I'm sure Joseph is going down into that pit no matter what, but it seems like there should be a couple of ways that the fight can play out on the way there. Although, that makes me wonder, who is the player controlling in this scene? Was Stafford shooting the wall a cutscene, or can he hold his fire? More importantly, since both characters are having action scenes simultaneously, are we going to be swapping back and forth between them like we're back in Little Hope, or will they just save the other player for the curator's cut? This little pose and adjustment he does before dropping down is neat. Is he changing around his body for the new task of falling a great distance? Well, that's just an incredibly satisfying exploding head. Not unhappy about that in the least. Again, I figure that's going to be an aiming QTE. It's weird to see these action sequences just play out with any slowdown or on-screen prompts. They look good though. Here Joseph climbs back up. I assume we missed out on some kind of a stealth sequence with him before he got to the ladder. It's a little weird that Stafford is 100% certain immediately that he's dealing with the correct Joseph. I mean, I can't tell them apart, which raises the question, if you're playing Stafford in this scene, can they switch Josephs on you here?
What was that?
Also, is Joseph the most grounded person in the world? I would be a lot more freaked out if my double had just tried to kill me. Now this is just fascinating, and also disgusting. Apparently the people are copied so well that the goop monsters actually have red blood that splatters everywhere when they get shot. Presumably at some point they'll revert into goop, but for now you can't even cut their hand to do a Thing-style blood test because it won't work. Here we've got Lamarcus being scanned? It's not the scanner we saw in the last video, so I can't say exactly what's happening here, but it's probably important.
Don't trust him.
What are you talking about?
The growth. It's alive. It can change shape. It can turn into any of us. That's not Williams.
What the hell are you talking about?
He's right. Don't go anywhere near him.
Like he has been acting like a fucking Looney Tune.
Williams, say something. Let us know this isn't true.
You're kidding, right? It's me!
So apparently Williams has been acting weird. And if he is a monster, this confirms that yes, they can talk. Which again, isn't a surprise. You don't really have a game if they don't.
Wait! We don't know what he is. The test is almost finished, and then we'll know for sure.
Stafford seems really out of pocket here. Yes, he just blew the head off of his own double. But there's no reason to escalate a situation by pointing a gun at someone while they're in the middle of being scanned. It's an unhinged thing to do, and his second-in-command really should take that gun. Although, Lamarcus is acting just as deranged if he's not a goop monster. Should he not just be allowing the scan to finish and claiming to be a regular person? Also, this exchange is just baffling to me.
This is my ship.
Not yet. It's not my time.
What are you talking about? Are you saying that it becomes his ship after you're dead, and it's not your time to die yet? Maybe this exchange makes more sense in a larger context, but for now it's super awkward. And why are you smashing your hands against the glass? Are you an absolute buffoon? That's a perfect way to get yourself shot. Then again, he is a billionaire, and they tend to be dumber and more impulsive than normal people. So maybe he legit thought he was bulletproof?
Stafford!
So no, not bulletproof. Also, that seems to be a piece of skull over there on the side of the screen. Yikes.
Intruder identified.
It's one of those things.
I do like that we end this sequence without finding out if Stafford was right to shoot him or not. One problem with the Devil in Me's promotional videos is that one of them warned players that saving Aaron was the correct choice in the suffocation chamber, so everybody who watched the trailer knew that going in. Here, we have no idea what the right choice is. It's possible that Stafford just murdered his boss, daring to live out the American dream, or that a moment later the body starts decomposing into goop. Just like it's possible that if he'd broken through the window, LaMarcus would have sprouted claws and torn Stafford's head off. Now, you might say that this next bit, where they're talking about how it's one of those things, suggests that LaMarcus was definitely a monster, but we have no idea how much time has passed between these two shots. Now, it's possible that they've cut LaMarcus gooping out, but it's just as possible that someone is banging on the door trying to break in, and that's what they're reacting to. Since they established that goop monsters have regular red blood while they're copying someone, like The Thing, we can't say anything definitive based on the content they've shown us. I mean, it is most likely LaMarcus is a monster, and that's why they say we all have to test ourselves immediately, but we can't be sure. Then they go running for the testing hallway we saw in the Trust No One trailer, only to get split off from one another by the arrival of a new goop monster, which really can just show up whenever it wants. So immediately after finding out about the goop transformations, the team is forced to split up, which explains why everyone is so edgy in the testing sequence. I'm really enjoying the wholly alien version of the goop monster here. We've seen plenty of half-gooped crew members, and the Dead Space tentacle mouth was cute, but it's nice to see that it can just purpose-build a body for whatever it needs to do. So yeah, first time through, we're probably going to be shooting LaMarcus in that scene. But then again, Supermassive likes to toy with us by constantly switching back and forth which is the right thing to do in that situation. Don't shoot Emily, but do shoot Nick. Don't shoot Amy, but do shoot Clarice and or Rachel. You can never assume it's going to go a particular way with these developers, which, of course, is why we love them. So yeah, I'm very happy with this little demonstration. I would have loved to see a stealth scene in action, since that's now such a big part of the game. But the rest of it looks like the classic Supermassive drama. QTEs, tough choices, constantly worsening circumstances. It's all extremely promising, even with that blip of weirdly clunky dialogue, and I can't wait to see more. Speaking of more, let's get a look at the additional scenes that were visible in IGN's preview. I know I'm just doing the thing I said I didn't want to do, which is harvesting someone else's video footage, but there's some stuff that wasn't in the clip reel Supermassive put out, so what else are we supposed to do here? It starts with the footage from the Trust No One trailer and the B-roll. I do like that the cut there is a microsecond before Goop Stafford's head explodes. You know, it's M-rated as trailers go, but they were still a little worried. First new footage we see is of the Dreams bar, where presumably they've come to get cocktails? We're told that this is 2 days before launch, and I've got to say, the world looks fine. No megastorms, no sun rapidly increasing in size, no nuclear winter or ever humming clouds of genetically engineered super locusts. Things look fine? Then again, this could be one of those LED walls like the one in Cassiopeia, and the brutal reveal is that the world is in some kind of a collapse, and all that people have left are digital loops of decent weather and environments. The bar has some extremely nice leather couches set up by the table. Are these the couches from the Devil in Me Lounge or the curator's office? Obviously, I will check. There's a cake on the table. It's in loving memory of Bill. There seems to be an icing calla lily on top of it. Was that his favorite flower, or is it being used here in its traditional celebration of life at a funeral purpose? Also, I'm confused about the candles. Who blows out candles on a remembrance cake? Is that a weird tradition I'm unfamiliar with? And why are there two of them? Is this the 2-year anniversary of Bill's death? And do you add another candle every year? It's just weird. Now we can see Brianna and Stafford talking at the bar. Neither of them is wearing particularly futuristic clothing, but really, what do you expect? Tragically, the IGN guy is talking over this footage, so I have no idea what they're saying. I'm guessing this is going to be a flashback at some point? A dream before somebody wakes up, maybe, or after someone's been dragged off by the goop monsters like in House of Ashes? Here's an interesting line from the preview.
It can mutate and take the form of any living person on board their ship.
Note the word living in there. Is that a mistake? Or does the goop monster need the thing it's copying to actively be alive in order to continue, sourcing its information? That would make for an interesting bit of drama, because the very act of being chased down by a goop monster would let you know that the real person is still alive out there somewhere and quite possibly savable. Like, and this is just a crazy spitball. What if the ones that can't talk are just because the goop can observe what you look like, but in order to fully copy you, the goop has to like capture you and read your mind. And as long as it's got you locked away, it can create a fully responsive version of you. That could be intriguing. Here's a conversation prompt. What was Stafford asking Brianna? It's just 2 days before launch. What could the big ask conceivably be? Does he want her to drop out of the flight because it's too dangerous and he promised Bill that he'd look out for her? There's more talking between them. Why couldn't they just put subtitles on this? The preview does confirm that between Joseph falling down with the pod and climbing back up the ladder, there's a stealth sequence in which he can get killed. Sadly, there's no footage of that just yet. The preview also includes the writers saying that they made a choice that they came to regret in the do or don't shoot LaMarcus sequence. Since it's hard to imagine regretting shooting a crazy billionaire who built a super shoddy spaceship, I'm guessing he didn't shoot and the monster gooped somebody? And we finally get some dialogue from the bar scene.
I wasn't sure you'd be here.
I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Now, that's not a ton of extra footage, but it's good to see nonetheless. Oh, and it is the same couch. It's the same length, and while the material looks a little different, this is a slightly odd pattern to the indentations on the arm, where you get one dent, a big gap, and then two dents really close together, and that's identical. Yes, it's got different material covering it, but that's not a surprise. I'm sure in the 100 years between games, it was reupholstered a few times. Also, yes, it's exactly the same couch that's in the curator's office. Although, that's not a huge surprise, since Dumet famously did model his lounge after his dad's office. The couches all have this really weird pattern where the back is just a bunch of really huge indentations. Would this be comfortable to lean against? And yes, I counted and it's the same number of dents. Is it a sign that I've maybe played devil in me too much, that I looked at the couch that we don't get a good look at here and immediately thought, hey, I know that couch? I'll admit it's a little strange, but it hardens me to know that we're seeing nods to the other games in the series, even if that's obviously not what this is. So let's keep an eye out for other references as we hear more Directive 8020 news. Until then, though, I've been the Hidden Object Guru. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time and you'd like to see more of those buttons coming up to help with that, questions, comments, your own theories about couches and other seating arrangements in the world of the Dark Pictures, go in the comment section below the video. Play my game Clown in the Wood for free at itch.io. I will test to see if it works on phones. God. All right, I'll see you back here for more Directive 8020, but until then, I'll say that's right. Au revoir.